There we go. So today we're going to play with the little PowerShell script we're writing on Tuesday. Let's start up Visual Studio Code. So started off clearing the host just to make the script look pretty. I started a counter up here, a equals 10. And then I've got some do's here, a do while loop. So basically going to loop through until a gets to 19. So right there, these last two lines, I got my a++, it's going to increment a, so I don't end up with an endless loop. And then it's going to do the while and check. Is the value inside of a less than 19? And if it is, it's going to continue to loop until it's greater than, it's 19 or greater. So it'll stop. Inside the loop, I'm running an invoke command so that I can invoke commands remotely. I'm specifying a computer name, specifying the BBATH 106 dash, and then $a. So that's going to hit computer 10 through computer 18. And it's going to run a script block, meaning a set of PowerShell commands. Script block, and inside the curly brackets here, I have my PowerShell command. So I could easily hit enter right here and enter again. Put a pound, begin script block, pound. That way, if I had to have multiple lines of code, I could. So all of this right here is the invoke command that I've highlighted. And it's going to invoke the get item path C:\ISO. If that returns an error, then the if statement is going to evaluate to false. And I'm going to get no printed out to the screen. If the ISO path is found, it's going to return the information, and the command is going to say that it ran correctly. So I'll have exit code of 1 instead of exit code of 0. And the exit code of 1 is Boolean true. So if is going to go, hey, true. And if it's true, I'm going to write out this yes right here. So that's what we've got so far. I wanted to fix this so that it will work on computers 1 through 9. The problem is when you're dealing with an integer, integers they don't begin with 0. So that's a problem. Because it's not just -1's not the computer name, it's -01's the computer name. So we've got a little snafu to deal with. How do we do that? So what I want to do is create another variable, low PC and high PC. Be equal to BB ATAH dash 106 dash 0. Cool. I'm going to have some more if statements right up here. I'm going to have to test what A is and then determine if I'm going to use which value. And I want to test something out first too. I want to go ahead and just highlight this and do an F8, just run that selection by itself. Where I store those into PowerShell. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that my concatenation is going to work. Low PC plus $A. I want to see what happens if I just run that command. Is that going to combine them both together and output correctly? So I have 10. And then if I did, right now, I'm not actually, I'm just checking, is this going to work? Can I add the two variables together? And can I get the right text that needs to be sent to this invoke command to put right here? So that would work. And if $A was started at 1, if I execute just that, set it to 1, and then execute line 8. BBATH 106-01, which is the computer name. Cool. $sign IPC plus $sign A. Execute that. Of course, I've just got 1 in there. That's not a valid computer name because ours have 01, but it is working the way we need it to. Cool. Now, how do I fix this? How do I get it to where that it's putting the right value in here? What would you do? We could test what the value of A is. If A is 1 through 9, it needs to be paired with low PC. If it's 10 through 18, it needs to be paired with high PC, right? You get the right output. Okay. How do we do that? Create an if-else statement. Cool. I'm not going to leave these here. I just threw them up there to test, but that's what I need to do. So I'll create an if-else statement. So if what? If $A is less than 10, right? If it's any value that's less than 10, meaning 9 all the way down to 1. If it's 10, it's not less than 10, it's equal to 10, so that would fail. If it's less than 10, what do we need to do? Actually, this is probably so short, I could throw it all on one line. What do we need to do if it's less than 10? We need the low PC one to run, right? Uh-oh, what just happened? Control Z, I don't know what just happened. I just pasted Control V, Control Z. I want this to be cut, and paste. Cut, paste. Sometimes I get these backwards, so am I thinking right? If the value of A is less than 10, we're going to go with the low number that has a 0 in there. So we're going to attach like 1 through 9 to this name right here. If this is 10 or greater, then it's going to be the high PC one, so it's going to be put 1, 0. Am I right? The problem is I'm going to create another variable. $sign PC equals, right? That way I can just use what right here? $sign PC. Can you follow that? Set a variable A to 1. I have a couple of variables that are the first part of the computer name. One of them goes all the way out to 0. One of them just ends in the dash. Then I'm going to test. With the values 1 through 10, I need to put it with the name that has the 0 there. So it's some of 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3. Once I hit 10, I need to pair it to one with just a dash. So it becomes -10, -11, -12, all the way up to 18. And to make it simple, once I add those two together and chunk them together, I'm going to put it in a new variable name called PC. That way I don't have to do anything funky down here to figure out which one I need to do, because it's going to be in that PC variable no matter what. It should run. Should. Never say it will, because that's when you'll find all your errors. This will run perfectly. I think I'm ready to run this thing. I do see a problem. I'm going to stop. I'm not getting the computer names, so I'm writing host yes, but also probably want to do $sign PC. I'm probably going to use double quotes here. Notice the PC is in a different color. If I use single quotes, it's the same color as the text. So if I use double quotes, it'll be reading that. Okay, I'm going to try it one more time. What? So I just built a PowerShell script to go and check all the machines to see, do they have an ISO folder? That was fun. I didn't have to go to each PC individually. It's like, just do it. Sure, it took a while to write this thing up, but if you get faster and better at coding, you can hack one of these little scripts out faster than you can go to each individual machine and check, see what's going on. Okay, so computer number 2 said no. Let me go see what's wrong with computer number 2. It doesn't have an ISO folder at all. That's what's wrong with it. Well, that makes sense. New folder. So this is part of Lan class. You see how I access the root, the C drive? Let me use the zoom it tool. Zoom in. Uh-oh, that's not the zoom. There we go. There's the zoom. Problem is, zoom back out. Let's see. Get that highlighted now. There we go. That's better. Zoom in for you. Whack, whack. Computer name, server name, node name, whatever you want to call it. Whack. Drive letter, $. If you've got administrative rights to a computer, we've covered this before, you can access the root of all the volumes on a system by typing it like this. Very useful for administration purposes. And what did I do? Because that folder right there was not in existence. Is that big enough for you? That's as big as I can get. I can use Zoom on the projector, but people on Zoom wouldn't be able to see it. So, you know, I can electronically zoom. Make it. We'll go back to normal. Okay. I'm not going to fix the other two yet, but I'm going to rerun this script and see. I'm going to be watching for this one right here to see if it's now fixed. Because I created a folder called ISO. So here, it's rerun. Oh, what's going on? Oh, it cleared. There we go. So what's number 2 telling me? It's red. I meant green. This says yes. The folder exists. Sweet. Okay, so what's wrong with number 15? So I'm going to do the same check. Whack whack. BBAT 106 dash. Well, should have BBATAH. I've been to all of these before. Okay, so BBATAH 106.15. And whoever set this one up, put an S on the end of ISO. Awesome. When I rename this, whoever sets the computer 15 and has any of these ISO files, well, the folder is empty. Okay, no problem whatsoever with that one. 15 is 14, 15, 16. Yep, because of COVID, nobody sits at 15. So nobody's going to be an issue. Cool, now if I rerun the thing, 15 should show up as green. I fixed the misspelling. It did. To see PowerShell being in use. Let me see if I can find my email on this. May have deleted it. So one of our IT people was looking at and pulling out stale computer accounts. So he run a PowerShell script and pulled out all the machines that were disabled. And they ought to get disabled if another PowerShell script runs daily and checks any machine that's not accessed the network in 6 months, gets this auto disabled and moved to a disabled OU. So he ran another script, pull all those information, throw them here on the screen, go, hey, we haven't been looking through this lately. Anybody recognize the computer here? What's going on? Hey, do these look really familiar to you? That looks really familiar. It's like all of these accounts are disabled. I looked at those, go, wait, that's my class. And I come up here and seeing that this is for a different domain. Like, oh, that's right. Yes, we had those computers joined to the college domain for a while and we couldn't see each other's Hyper-V machines. There was a lot of permission problems we were having in the classroom. I told them it was to do with the way they had the trust relationship set up between college and EDU. And they didn't want to tear that down. So they told me just to move it back to EDU. So yeah, those were stale. Our computer accounts are valid in asub.edu, not asub.college. It's been a nightmare having two domains. Someday they will fix it. Some decade they will fix it. I'll say that. Okay, computer 18 is still showing up as a problem. So I don't want to try to find 18. I'll just modify this 2 to an 8. Hit enter. Oh, there we go. The same issue. They spelled it with an S on the end. Could have been me. I had students helping me set these up, and I was also setting them up. So I don't know who. And I can't change it. Because one of these folders is open. Power of centralized management. Did you watch this? Hyper-V Manager. Y'all been using that all semester, correct? Have y'all connected to another computer? Probably not. Probably haven't needed to. But I can connect to another computer. BBATAH 18. Hit enter. There's 18. So one of these systems here has an ISO image attached to it. So if I disconnect them all, yeah, I turned that one off. None. So I'm just going through and seeing which system still has a DVD ISO attached. Notice the location of the ISO images. They're in that ISOs folder. So because it's running and Windows has this open connected, I can't rename the path to it. I have to disconnect all the files, any program that's got a file open before I can rename. The folder. Okay, all of those are changed now. Will it rename? It does. That's all LAN stuff. You use all the Microsoft tools, Microsoft MMC, Snap-in, specifically Hyper-V Manager to remotely connect computer 18, check all the virtual machines, disconnect the CD-ROMs that were stored in the ISO folder. Use the UNC path here and was able to rename that folder finally. So as I run, I'm all green. So I use PowerShell to verify consistency in the classroom. I've had trouble with this in the past. One folder would be called ISO, another folder would have an S on the end of it. And when I installed all these new machines, I was like, I'm going to make sure that they're all the same across all of them. And I thought I logged into every single computer and checked it and looked at it. But as you see, humans make errors. And computers are really great at spotting patterns and a pattern that doesn't follow what you want it to. So not the most elegant and best code. We've not put any type of try catch. We're not looking at any errors or anything like that. We're just a straight, simple script. We hope the computers are online and running. We haven't tested it. If a PC was turned off, what would happen? You probably would just give us a no. So we want to walk through each one. So we started a counter at line 3. We specified a couple of possible computer names. At least the beginning part, that's the same. It's common between all of them. We had to specify 2 different ones because one starts with a 0 and the other one just has like 10, 18. We started our loop and we were going to do our loop until A was less than, while A was less than 19, we're going to continue looping. So when we come through here, check. Is A less than 10? Concatenate is what it's called. We want to concatenate 2 text strings together. So we're putting the computer name attached to whatever's in A, sticking them together to be 1, fusing it and storing it into $PC. If it's 10 or greater, we're doing the same thing. We're just fusing it to the different name, the one with just the dash on it, fusing those 2 together into PC. Invoking a command on a remote computer. Checking the CFC :/ISO exist. And then we do this here we just write something to the screen. This is a fairly safe script because I'm not using any set commands or delete or not doing anything malicious. I'm just looking at something and saying yay or nay and printing text to the screen. It's a pretty safe script to play with, especially for beginners. It's when you get into a script that you're looking for something and then making a change to an object with the script. What if your script is screwed up and you change the wrong thing to thousands of things? Could be a problem. Any questions? So I showed you this one, and I showed you a script on Tuesday. That should help you build out the one for the PowerShell Lab 2. I told you to Google for a PowerShell ping alternative. It should show you really obvious, blatant, straight in your face, like, hey, Here's the PowerShell command, the alternative to ping that you can use. And then you can use some of the way I did the if statements here with the command to test if they work or not. PowerShell Lab 2 should be pretty easy. Should be. You're always new to something. It's never easy. Tell a 6-month-old to walk. Walking's easy. Of course, they probably don't understand you anyway. But, you know, they think it's hard. Okay, I'm going to stop recording. At least pause it anyway. If I can get to the pause button.